Hello. Today I'd like to demonstrate for you a nesting module in EasyStone and how we can use it with a 5-axis bridge saw and do some machining. The first thing that I'd like to do is import my file. I could also draw inside of EasyStone if I choose. I think most customers are now working with DXF imports. Once I have all my objects imported, I can simply move into nesting. I choose how I want to define my parts, and I'm going to define them by an external path, and I say OK. Once I'm here, I need to tell EasyStone how do I want to apply a tool to each part perimeter. In this case, I'm going to select the entire list, and then I want to use one of my combination kits, which is a granite blade with a milling tool, center spindle milling tool. Once I say OK, that kit is applied to all parts, all cutting areas. But I notice that one of my parts has a circle in the center. And EasyStone is going to try to prioritize a saw blade for the circle. And I really would prefer to use a center tool mill for that. So I want to select the center path. And I'm going to use the icon to associate a kit. In this case, I'm going to just use the milling tool and say OK. From here, I can move to establish a new slab. I have some options for this. I can create a rectangular slab if I'm using maybe just some simple man-made material, or I could take a slab from my sheet store. My sheet store is a warehouse of slab inventory, most often with photos of different slabs that I have here. The slab photos can come from a scanning system, or they could also come from a offline photo station where someone might use DDX photo to take slab pictures and then send them here. In any case, once I have chosen my slab, I can take as many as I think I'll need. In this case, I'm assuming that I have repeating styles of slab, and I'll take, for this job, I'll take a few of them. Right now it's asking me if I would like to apply the properties of the sheet or the slab to the pieces in the project. It's identified a place where the pieces I've imported, it's assuming 0.75 thickness, and my slab thickness is actually 2 cm. So I'll say yes. And now you can see that my parts have updated to use the same thickness as my sheet. Like I said, I wanted to take, let's start with 3 of them. And I'll say OK. So here I have 3 slabs that I'd like to apply these pieces to. Our nesting comes in 2 different types of modules. We have automatic nesting, and we also have manual nesting. Automatic nesting includes not only automatic, but also manual. So I have the ability to do both. Manual nesting is just that, no automatic function. I'll start with automatic nesting. And you can see that it's asking me how long do I want to calculate this nesting. Typically, with a few parts like I have now, I'll just say until completion. And EasyStone is looking at all parts and putting them most efficiently into the slabs, assuming that I want to get the best yield out of all of my slabs. I have an extra slab. Do I want to erase it? I'll say yes. Now I can move from nesting into the machining phase by closing nesting. But I want to show you another way. I want to show you the manual way. So I'm going to reset my parts arrangement, and then I want to bring back that 3rd slab. So I'll visit my sheet store, and I'll choose one more slab, take it, and say OK. Manual, I find, is probably most common with a lot of our customers because of the vein matching. So for here, I can simply take a piece or a part, locate it somewhere inside of a slab, and then continue on. I also have the ability to rotate my parts with the icons here on the sides. In this case, I have it set to rotate in 45-degree increments, but I could set this to any value I wanted, 90, 180, however I'd like. Once I found the rotation, I'll just accept it by saying OK. I'll move my part to a different location in the slab, and then look at the next series of parts. From here now, after I've located my parts on the slabs, I want to take a look at the vein matching, and I can do that within Parts Composition. Parts Composition gives me a preview of all the pieces as they're laid out. First, I see that I have this gap here from my drawing. I want to move these pieces tight together so that I can get a good vein match. I changed my move into magnet mode, and now when I click on a piece, I can drag it around and make it snap to any other location. To grab close to the end here to get them to highlight together. Now I'm going to change my magnet mode back into move mode. I'm going to look in here and move my pieces around. I can do that in two ways. I can select on the slab and move my part, and you can see that the preview of the vein match is updating. Alternatively, I can click on the part inside of the Parts Composition window and move it around this way as well. And once I think that I have a vein match that is good for this particular project, I'm done with the Parts Composition window. I can simply close it and move from nesting into machining. I'll close nesting. I arrive in our draw phase, or the draw page. I need to do nothing more here, so I move into the machining phase. Once I'm in machining, I can see the tool paths as they're applied. I have saw cuts, and anywhere there's an inside corner or inside cutout, I will have my center tool path. And cycle through each slab to get a preview of what's going on. Go back to the middle slab, and I'm going to continue from the machine phase into disposition. Disposition just allows me to locate the slab anywhere that I want on the table. Typically, I think customers will work close to the front left corner of the table, if not directly on it. From here, I move into the splitting phase. Splitting, I have two options. I can do an automatic split and let EasyStone calculate how it thinks is the best to create this particular job. I find, though, customers prefer to do manual splitting. I think they just appreciate having that control. So I can join the split slab back together, and then I'll go into split once again. And this time I'm using manual split. With manual split, I can order my cuts, activate certain things. So I would, in this particular case, prefer to start out with the milling operations. So I activate my milling, and then I say go ahead. Once I say go ahead, I get a preview of the work table. And here's where I can do things like move my parts around, erase parts, like this centerpiece. I wouldn't need any further, so I could erase it. I don't need to, though. So I'm just going to advance, say go ahead once again. And now I'm going to start separating the part from the scrap with saw cuts. In this particular case, if I wanted to cut all the way through, I could extend my cuts automatically with a press of the green extension button. If I wanted to shorten it up, I could use the red, removing the extensions. Also, I can enter a value at the bottom if I wanted to choose to do that and extend my cuts by a certain value. Or I can simply click on the auto icon and it extends the saw cut to the perimeter of the slab automatically. Let's say go ahead. Now I have two parts, or two particular pieces, the one with my working part and then a remnant. I'll move the remnant off the table near the back, and I'll say go ahead. And I can continue to do that if I wanted to repeat making a remnant. Extend my cut automatically. Say go ahead. Move a piece. And then EasyStone has now identified I have enough room to make the balance of my saw cuts. Once I find this to be acceptable, I'll say go ahead again. And there's nothing more to do, no parts to erase, no other steps to make. So EasyStone gives me the preview of how my table is going to look when all cuts are done and allows me to move forward. From disposition, I move into the do it phase. Once I arrive at do it, I can generate a code file. It's telling me I've identified some scrap, and what would I like to do to save the scrap? I can rename it. Or leave it as it is, and I can say OK. And I'm looking for successfully completed. Once I've done that, I can move into simulation. Simulation is going to give me a 3D representation of the job as it's being worked. You can see how it starts with the center milling tool. Once the milling tool is done, it changes state. So now it's working with the saw blade. Makes vacuum movements as needed. And then I'll continue cutting until complete. That's my brief demonstration of how to use nesting with a 5-axis bridge saw.